York to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
It's Ebro in the Morning, Laura Stiles, Rosenberg. Big voting day today all around the state of New York, and we have the current governor, Kathy Hochul, on the line. Good morning, Kathy. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. It's election day. This is when we get a chance to exercise our power, so I'm really energized by it. Looking forward to a big night tonight.
What now? A lot has been made of how close the race is between you and Lee Zeldin. What exactly are you seeing, and what should voters know about how close the race actually is?
Well, it's close enough that everybody who believes in democracy, who believes in fairness, who believes in justice, who believes in safety, and women's right to choose, they'll all show up. So that's what's on the line. But I know that we have enough Democrats out there who are now motivated, and that is all we need to win. Is when Democrats turn out, we win, and I'm excited about that.
How do you respond to the main thing I hear when I talk about, because I am supporting you for governor, and when I say that, a lot of people go, but what about the crime? She doesn't do anything on crime. She thinks it's all a joke. The Democrats are letting the criminals run crazy. How do you respond to that? What is the reality of how you see crime in the city right now?
We have a problem. I have acknowledged that, and that's why this is not a campaign issue for me. I've been working on this with Mayor Adams since his first week in August and January. The two of us went together into the subway, and I pledged that I would do what I could as governor to bring more resources and help for him and help the people who are severely mentally ill get assistance and not be on the crimes on the subway. So we also had to make sure that we get guns off the streets. And this is something my opponent, Lee Zeldin, won't even talk about. I said, you cannot be tough on crime and soft on guns. And I have worked hard getting over 8,000 guns off the streets, working with NYPD and other partners. So he's all about the rhetoric and just scaring people. I've actually been working on it hard and helping the mayors, which is what a governor does. You just provide the air cover, the resources. And we're going to keep making progress. We're not there yet. I'm not saying it's where we want it to be. And telling everybody it's the safest big city in America, safer than other places, that doesn't help. It's a real feeling. It's a human feeling of anxiety people have. And I know it's going to go away over time, but it's real right now. And that's why I'm leaning hard into talking about there's nobody tougher on crime than I am, because I'm actually doing something about it.
Governor, one thing I'm very passionate about is a woman's right to choose. And I don't think people really realize what's at stake here. Can you please explain, if a person like Lee Zeldin would be in office, what are women facing right now?
Oh, his entire public life has been about saying women don't have a right to make these decisions. Right now in Congress, his name is actually on a bill that says life begins at conception, that women, even if it's rape or it's incest, or life of a mother's in danger, they're not entitled to make that own decision about their own body. So he said, and this is interesting, the day after Roe v. Wade, he championed it, he cheered it, he applauded it as being a great decision. And now, as he's getting to the general election, he's starting to realize nobody agrees with him on that. So he's starting to say, well, nothing really changed the day after the decision came down. He said, you know why nothing changed? Because I'm the governor and you're not. That's the only reason nothing changed.
Yeah, shots fired.
Power.
Right.
I mean,
I said shots fired. I like that type of tone right there, Governor. I like that.
I'm a street fighter from Buffalo. Nobody messes with me, but I need to be. But I also have heart and compassion. That sets me apart. I take care of communities, and I'm reaching out to a lot of communities. A lot of women are very anxious about the prospect of having someone who could put in a health commissioner, who could go around shutting down all the clinics for health code violations, or using the budget to make change. They have enormous power, and don't let them fool you.
Kathy, I know we don't have a lot of time with you today, Governor. We appreciate you taking the time out to come talk to our audience and spend some time with us. I'd like to have real talk about going back to crime, because that is the major, I guess, negative sell against people voting for you. And I want to dig in on that, because a lot of people don't understand bail reform specifically. Do you believe there are changes and adjustments that need to be made to bail reform? And if so, what are they?
We made a number of changes, and this is what's not out there. The changes that were put in place were to make sure that two people accused of the same offense, let's say it's a low level, someone steals a backpack, ends up in Rikers. one person's in Rikers because their family doesn't have money to post bail. Another person, same offense, is out. That was the premise behind it. But what I saw when I was the new governor is that there's a lot of cases where repeat offenders were not being held, and people with gun cases were not being held, or where there's an order of protection to protect a woman from an abuser. So with the power that I had as governor, I got through working with the legislature in the budget, which is unusual, but I had a lot of leverage for the 9 days I held up the budget to make sure we got these meaningful changes in. So they haven't been in effect that long. So we made some real changes. I'm always open to changes, but for anyone to say on day one, life is going to be great, crime's going to go away because I'm going to fire the first black district attorney in Manhattan, and I'm going to put a state of emergency and undo everything the legislature did. Nobody should buy that. Nobody should buy that. Everybody's too smart to buy that. It's not that simple. Our courts were shut down for 2 years because of COVID. We have to get more guns off the streets. We have to let our laws start working. And I'm working in partnership with the mayor to help him with the subways as well. So I think if people really want to look at the record, I mean, you can run all kinds. You can have a billionaire running ads for you, which is what Lee Zeldin has, at $20 million worth of ads, trying to say I'm not tough enough on crime. Are you kidding me? I mean, so I know people are smarter. I know that they're going to march the polls and say, we're going to reject those kind of lies from an election denier and Donald Trump's best friend. And look at Donald Trump's running for president. He's announcing in another week. He already said that. And that we cannot have someone sitting in the governor's office who Donald Trump called one of his staunchest defenders and allies. So that's what's on the ballot. There's a lot of things on the ballot, but I am laser focused on making the streets of New York safer.
Governor, last thing from me. Obviously, the other issue that's really affecting New Yorkers in a big way right now is not only inflation, but price gouging. What can you do as governor to try to make this increase in prices slow down a bit for New Yorkers?
Yeah, it is very hard. I'm working with our Attorney General, Tish James. What a great partner she has been. The two of us finding out anybody who's gouging during these circumstances will be brought to justice. You cannot take advantage of people when life is hard enough and prices are going up, and even the cost of peanut butter and jelly. It's hard for our families. So we're working to use the laws we have on the books, but also send a strong message. Do not try to take advantage of our citizens, because you have to get through myself as a governor and our Attorney General, Tish James. So we're sending that message out as well. And I do want to just say one thing. I want to thank everybody who's been involved in this cannabis issue, where we're finally righting the wrongs of the past by giving people who've been affected by the system the opportunity to really be part of a new economy, where we're going to create millions and billions of dollars for communities of color that where the mass incarceration occurred, the over-policing because of marijuana offenses. So I'm the first person to really unleash this possibility, and literally later this year, we're going to start seeing, black and brown run dispensaries all over the state. It's going to infuse more money into communities that deserve it. And everything we do is through the lens of equity. And this is one of the most significant changes we're going to make in people's lives in our communities, is to give them a shot at the very lucrative market. And it's just being unleashed right now. I'm very excited about this.
Well, it should be noted that if Kathy Hochul and my friend Antonio Delgado don't actually make it into the office and aren't voted in for to do this work, all of that could go away. Correct, Governor?
Oh, it's all shut down. It is all shut down. And people need to know that there are consequences to elections, whether it's shutting down the cannabis industry that we're trying to start up, or it's women not having the rights that they take for granted right now in our state because they'll be subverted by a governor who said he's going to have a pro-life health commissioner. And you can watch speech because he says the way to make places safer is to arm everybody, have guns on the subways and in churches and in parks and schools. He wants every single teacher to have a gun on their desk. Does that make you feel safer when your child's sitting in a classroom with a loaded gun on the desk? So we cannot let that happen. And I have faith in New Yorkers. I have faith in your listeners that everybody's going to wake up today and say, this is the day that these things don't happen, but we believe in someone who really has the guts and tenacity and the passion for the state to lift us out of the circumstances we're in now. And I believe the better days truly do lie ahead for the state of New York.
Governor Kathy Hochul, thank you for your time today. Get out and vote. Laura Stiles, if they don't know where their voting polls are, because that's another thing we need to talk about, Governor Hochul, is our state makes it too hard to vote. There's too many days, moving locations, not enough polls. Like that's a real, and I know that's the election board, but it continues to be a real issue where it's hard for the regular person to keep track of voting sometimes or where their location is. Laura, what's the website people can go to?
So you just a quick Google search, go find my poll site.votenyc or vote.org. A quick Google search will take you to many websites that can help you find your polling place, your voting place.
Thank you for the time, Governor.
All right. Thanks, Ebro. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, everybody.